The problem of evil, a labyrinthine inquiry. The problem of evil has been a central puzzle in philosophy and theology for centuries, a labyrinthine inquiry that challenges the very foundation of belief in a benevolent God. It hinges on a seemingly straightforward question: if an all-powerful, omnipotent, all-knowing, omniscient, and all-good, omnibenevolent God exists, then why is the world marred by suffering and evil? Imagine a benevolent ruler with absolute power and knowledge. Such a ruler would surely want to eliminate all suffering within their domain. Yet, the world we inhabit is demonstrably imperfect. Earthquakes devastate communities, innocent children fall prey to illness, and acts of cruelty scar lives. This undeniable reality throws the concept of a benevolent God into sharp relief. Here's where philosophers step in, each wielding a different torch to illuminate the path through this labyrinth. 1. The free will defense, a balancing act. Perhaps the most well-known response, championed by Alvin Plantinga, is the free will defense. It posits that free will, the ability to make genuine choices between good and evil, is an essential prerequisite for genuine love and morality. Even an omnipotent God cannot create beings who are pre-programmed to always choose good. True love and moral action require the freedom to choose wrongly. While God desires good, He allows free will to exist, even with the knowledge that it can lead to evil. This, in essence, is a trade-off, a world with the potential for both immense love and profound evil. Critique and nuance. Critics of this defense argue that it doesn't account for the existence of natural evils, earthquakes, tsunamis, and diseases that arise from impersonal forces. Can't God create a world with free will that's also free from such devastating natural phenomena? Additionally, the free will defense doesn't address the problem of the scope of evil. Can all suffering, however immense or seemingly arbitrary, be justified as a necessary consequence of free will? 2. The soul-making theodicy, through the crucible. The soul-making theodicy, championed by Irenaeus, presents a different perspective. It suggests that suffering, while undeniably painful, serves a purpose. It refines our character and strengthens our moral fiber. Just as fire purifies gold, suffering can refine our souls, build resilience, and bring us closer to God. Think of a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble to reveal the masterpiece within. Similarly, suffering may be the chisel God uses to sculpt our moral character. Critique and the problem of proportion. This approach, while offering a sense of purpose in suffering, raises questions about the proportionality of pain. Does every tragedy have a hidden purpose that justifies the immense pain inflicted on innocent people? Imagine a child suffering from a debilitating illness. Is it truly plausible that this suffering is necessary for their moral development? 3. Rethinking omnipotence, a more limited power? Some philosophers propose a different interpretation of God's power. Perhaps God is not truly omnipotent, but rather supremely powerful within certain parameters. This allows for the existence of natural laws and independent forces beyond God's direct control. Earthquakes happen because of the movement of tectonic plates, not because God wills them. While God may desire to alleviate suffering caused by these forces, they may operate outside the scope of God's direct intervention. Critique and the nature of God. This approach challenges a traditional understanding of God. If God is not all-powerful, is God still worthy of worship and reliance? Does a God with limitations inspire the same level of faith and trust? 4. The mystery theodicy, accepting the unknown. The mystery theodicy acknowledges the limitations of human understanding. We, as finite beings, simply cannot grasp the vastness and complexity of God's plan. The reasons behind suffering may be beyond our comprehension. Just as an ant cannot understand the intricacies of human engineering, we may not be able to grasp the grand design behind suffering. Faith, in this view, requires accepting the mystery and trusting that God, despite the pain we experience, has a good purpose for it all. Critique and the need for answers. While acknowledging the mystery is important, it can feel like an unsatisfying answer to those grappling with real-world pain. Doesn't faith require some explanation, some glimmer of understanding to anchor belief, especially in the face of immense suffering? 5. Redefining God, beyond traditional concepts. The most radical response is to question the very nature of God. Perhaps God is not all-powerful, all-knowing, or even perfectly good. Maybe God is a force for good working within a complex and imperfect universe, or perhaps there are multiple divine beings with conflicting agendas. This opens the door to various non-traditional ideas of God, such as deism. Delving deeper, nuances and objections. The 5 responses we've explored offer a roadmap through the labyrinth of the problem of evil. But each path has its own twists and turns, demanding further exploration. The free will defense. Compatibilism versus incompatibilism. The defense hinges on the nature of free will. Compatibilism argues that free will and determinism, the idea that all events are predetermined, are not necessarily incompatible. We can have free will even if our choices are ultimately influenced by prior causes. Incompatibilism, on the other hand, argues that true free will requires genuine indeterminism, the ability to make choices that are not predetermined. Critics argue that if God creates a world with genuine indeterminism, wouldn't God also know the statistical likelihood of creatures making evil choices? Couldn't God then create a world with free will but with a much lower probability of evil? The problem of the best possible world. Plantinga argues that even in a world with free will, God might choose to create the best possible world, even if it contains some evil. But critics ask, how can a world with immense suffering truly be the best possible world? Couldn't God have designed a world with free will but with less suffering? The soul-making theodicy. Moral luck. This critique argues that some suffering seems arbitrary and undeserved. A child struck by lightning may not have had the opportunity to learn or grow from the experience. Theodicy based on character development seems inadequate in such cases. The problem of the innocent. If suffering is supposed to refine our character, why do innocent people suffer tremendously? Does a baby with a terminal illness somehow benefit from their pain? Rethinking omnipotence. The problem of evil and divine action. If God isn't all-powerful, then what is God's role in the world? Can we still rely on God for protection and guidance if God's power is limited? The mystery theodicy. The challenge of blind faith. While acknowledging the mystery is important, blind faith can be a hard pill to swallow, especially for those in the midst of deep suffering. Doesn't faith require some explanation, some justification for the pain we experience? Redefining God. This approach challenges the core tenets of many religions. If God is not as traditionally described, what does that mean for our worship practices, our understanding of the afterlife, and the very foundation of our faith? The problem of evil remains an open debate, a philosophical and theological wrestling match without a universally accepted solution. Ultimately, how you navigate this labyrinth depends on your own philosophical and theological framework. But by exploring these different responses, you gain a deeper understanding of this age-old question, allowing you to refine your own beliefs and forge a meaningful path in your search for meaning. Beyond the labyrinth, additional considerations. The problem of evil isn't just an intellectual exercise, it has profound personal implications. Here are some additional considerations. The emotional impact of evil. The problem of evil isn't just an abstract concept. It arises from our very real experiences of suffering and loss. These experiences can shake our faith and leave us questioning the benevolence of a higher power. Acknowledging these emotions is a crucial part of grappling with the problem. The value of lived experience. Philosophical arguments are important, but they can feel detached from the harsh realities of suffering. Stories of people who have found meaning and purpose in the face of adversity can offer powerful counterpoints to abstract theological debates. The possibility of multiple answers. The 5 responses we explored aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. Perhaps elements of different theodicies can be combined to create a more nuanced understanding of the problem of evil. The role of faith. Ultimately, for many believers, faith plays a crucial role in navigating the problem of evil. Faith allows for trust that even in the face of the unknown, there is a greater purpose and a benevolent force at work in the universe. The importance of openness. The problem of evil is a complex issue with no easy answers. Remaining open to new perspectives and continuing the dialogue is essential. As our understanding of the universe and ourselves evolves, so too may our understanding of suffering and evil. Looking ahead. While the problem of evil may not have a definitive solution, the process of wrestling with it can be a valuable one. It can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves, our values, and the nature of existence. It can also foster empathy for those who suffer and a renewed commitment to alleviating suffering in the world. The labyrinth may not have a single exit, but the journey itself can be transformative. Conclusion: a journey, not a destination. The problem of evil remains a persistent echo in the halls of philosophy and theology. It compels us to confront the dissonance between a benevolent God and the undeniable reality of suffering. The various responses we've explored offer different paths through this labyrinth, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Ultimately, there may not be a single, universally accepted solution. The answer may lie in a combination of approaches, or perhaps it remains forever veiled in mystery. However, the journey itself is valuable. By grappling with the problem of evil, we refine our beliefs, deepen our empathy, and gain a richer understanding of the human condition. The path forward may not be clear, but with an open mind and a compassionate heart, we can continue to seek meaning in a world touched by both darkness and light.